I'm looking at the Hamadeh, who's the guy who looks like going to be the Attorney General elect for Arizona. He says Maricopa County's incompetence is a threat to our democracy. They can't even get their votes counted. How long does it take to count votes? I mean, how sleazy and pathetic. It's either the sleaziest slime. It is sleazy and slimy looking. Objectively, the whole world's laughing. That it's always these places. You know, you look at Kerry Lake, you look at Blake Masters and what they were running on in Arizona. Blake Masters was totally outspent 10-1. You know, you have this corrupt, horrible-looking weasel, Mitch McConnell, who stabbed, Blake Masters and said, I'm not going to give you any money, took all the money and put it into his hero, Dr. Oz, because Dr. Oz was going to be a reliable globalist vote. He was going to be a reliable vote for pillaging your money. Right? Don't go to Oprah Winfrey's factory of television personalities to get constitutional republicanism. Thanks, Trump. Of course, I heard reports that Trump's blaming Melania for telling him to do that. Why don't you take responsibility for what you do, buddy? Look, I mean, I get tired of these people making passes. Look, when Trump does something good, I'll say that's great. We're not going to make passes for man babies that can't take responsibility for their own idiotic failures. Pushing a guy like Dr. Oz, who was feckless and not interested in doing anything of serious, reform. This guy wasn't going to do. You think Dr. Oz was going to do anything to rein in the FDA? Do you think he was going to do anything to rein into big banks? Do you think he was going to do anything to rein in inflation, audit the Federal Reserve, gut the inflationary machine that is the Federal Reserve? Do you think he was going to do anything to oppose this disgusting money laundering operation with the Ukraine conflict, where so many people's lives, most importantly in terms of the scale, the Ukrainian people's lives caught in the middle of these different corrupt sides? Do you think he's going to do anything to stop that conflict, to stop the bloodshed, to stop America's foreign policy quagmires around the world? No. And Trump said he's on TV, therefore I pick him. Okay, well, that's why your legacy is not going to be that strong, Trump. You did some wonderful things, but if you can't own up, to what your involvement is, obviously Mitch McConnell is much, much worse by orders of infinite magnitude in some ways than a Trump, right? Mitch McConnell's the kind of completely soulless muppet who would never in a million years tell you take a generic drug that's off patent and in the public domain for a pandemic that was just a wonderful crisis to exploit for big pharma profiteering. He would never do that. Trump did that, right? So there's an infinite chasm between those two. But that's still, the bigger picture, you've got to own up when you get things wrong. But anyways, Blake Masters gets this money pulled from Mitch McConnell, and Mitch McConnell pulls millions of dollars that was going to go to advertising for Blake Masters and pumps it into people like Dr. Oz, Ted Budd. Again, is Ted Budd going to do anything reliable against the war machine? Not that I'm aware of. Is he going to do anything to rein in the Federal Reserve that is going to debase your currency and wipe out your savings and wipe out your purchasing power? Not that I'm aware of, okay? So people like Mitch McConnell, they do not respect you one iota. They do not care about your interests. And that's why, you have such a huge financial disparity between, Mark Kelly in Arizona, the Democrat incumbent, having, $100 million compared to Blake Masters, what was his, 15, 20 million or something? I mean, it was a huge, huge gap. And here we are with Arizona still can't get the numbers out. How hard is it to count votes? They are using machines. What is their excuse other than politics? To demoralize people, to muddy the wind. Someone like Kari Lake represents someone who could be a potential serious deliverer of good progress and integrity. And yet they want to ruin that victory. They want to draw it out. And with the sycophantic fake media covering for them, they're able to get away with it. And you say, well, people are wising up. Yeah, but how much percentage of the public is wising up? Not enough, fast enough. Because there's obviously a massive amount of people who will vote for a Fetterman, who will vote for a Joe Biden, no matter what Ashley Biden's diary says, no matter what criminality is revealed by the Hunter Biden laptop, no matter what he does to chew on his, thumb or whatever in the middle of a speech and walk around and act like invisible goblins are biting him, no matter what he does, there's a certain percentage of the population that's just going to go along with what the media tells them. Until we break up that media monopoly completely, 100%, and allow people who are currently being gaslit to have access to truthful information, it's going to be a very difficult thing to turn this ship around in this country.